Neal at the 45 to the 50. Charlie Waters out of bounds at the 41 of Dallas.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. Well, now that the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft is in the books, got a question for you. How many of you had Kadarius Toney, wide receiver from Florida, picked to go to the New York Football Giants? I know I didn't. Of course, that's because they had to trade with the Bears, but we got an extra fourth round, we got an extra fifth round, we got an extra first round pick. We got next year, we got the Bears' fourth round pick and their first round selection next year. So kind of hope that the Bears this year coming up, hopefully they stink. They're really bad. We might get a top 10 pick, so we'll have 2 first rounders next year and an extra fourth rounder. So this year we picked up the number 20 pick from the Bears, and we got the Bears' 5th round selection this year. So now we do have a 5th round selection. So we got a first, second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, which we lost when we gave the Jets our 5th to Leo the Lion, and then we have 2 6 this year. So to trade back, and who said that Dave Gettleman never trades back during draft day, huh? Well, there's a first for everything, huh? The first time as a GM Dave Gettleman has ever traded back in a draft in any round. So, would have been pretty interesting because when the pick 10 came up to the Cowboys, and Micah Parsons there, I had Rashawn Slater going to the Giants at 11, and of course DeVonta Smith was still there, and then the Eagles jumped in front of the Giants to get DeVonta Smith. But it was interesting. If the Eagles didn't jump up in front, would have been a little interesting because the Cowboys weren't taking DeVonta Smith because they don't need a wide receiver. They could have used offensive lineman Micah Parsons, and it was funny because the two cornerbacks went off early. Wow, in the top 10, very very surprised. 2 of them had me a little surprised there. But it would have been interesting if DeVonta Smith got to the Giants at 11. Would have been interesting to see if they would have held their ground or if they still would have traded back to the Bears. But the Eagles jumped in front, but I ain't worried about it. You know why? Because the Eagles stink. They're going to stink this year. And we got cornerbacks that can cover any wide receivers they got. The Eagles don't have any cornerbacks, so I ain't worried about it. So we got Kadarius Toney, wide receiver. And not only that, but we picked up a first rounder, a 4th rounder, and a 5th rounder. And the Eagles, to jump in front of us to get DeVonta Smith, they had to give up their first, and they had to give up their a third. They had 2 thirds this year, so they gave up 1 of their thirds. So I ain't worried about it. The Eagles are going to stink anyway, so it don't matter. But now we got some weapons. All right, okay. So maybe we need another running back. Maybe if you want to double dip on the wide receivers, maybe that 5th round pick, maybe the 6th round pick, maybe. If you want to get another wide receiver, but we Daniel Jones can't complain about not having any weapons. All right, we got Saquon coming back, Darius Slayton, Kadarius Toney, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Sterling Shepard, Kenny Golladay. I mean, we got some weapons, right? We don't need no more weapons. I mean, within reason, of course. But so look for in the 2nd round and the 3rd round. Tonight's draft starts at 7:00 Eastern time. For the Giants to take a defensive player, edge rusher. There were some got taken tonight. Rousseau got taken. I was a little surprised about that. my pick, Joe Tryon, who I had the Giants taking in the second. My mock draft, he got taken in the first round. He was good anyway. So Christian Barmore is still there. If I don't know if he's going to fall to the Giants at 42, but if he does, I hope we take him. But tonight, look for us to take somebody who can rush the quarterback, and so possibly second round an edge rusher, and then we got to get somebody for the offensive line. So look for that tonight. Somebody on the defense who can rush the quarterback and an offensive lineman tonight. We really, really need those two positions filled. But anyway, Kadarius Toney, trading back from number 11 to number 20. Got an extra first round. So if the Bears stink next year, we'll have a low first, and then the Giants are probably going to pick in the back half next year because they're going to be a better team than they are. They're not picking in the top 10 next year. I almost guarantee you that. But he's a true weapon. Last year he was a finalist for the Paul Hunting Award, which is awarded to like the most versatile college football player. He didn't win it, but he was a finalist for it. I mean, this guy, he can run the Wildcat. You know, he can run the ball. Obviously, he's a receiver. He can return punts. He can return kickoffs. I mean, he can do it all. He's like about 6 foot, almost 200 pounds. He's one of the few guys in the draft that can pretty much score anywhere on the field. Whether it's, you know, a deep pass or whether it's a catch and run, you know, his start and stopping ability is just amazing. I see one of the comments, his joints are like rubber bands. His flexibility is apparently off the charts. You see some of the, you know, some of the film of him. He is pretty special. So you know, he's going to be a nice addition. I mean, Daniel Jones got some weapons now. We can't complain about that. No more complaints. We need weapons. No, we don't. We're good. All right. So if we added something to it later on in the draft, fine. But we don't need that right now. Okay. He's pretty much a slot player. So I mean, if something were to happen to Sterling Shepard, because Shep gets hurt a lot, concussions or whatever, you know, if he misses some time, he can go right in there. Or if we not, you know, if Shep winds up you know, playing out his contract and we don't re-sign him or whatever, we got the slot player there. But he's pretty special. Now, he had a couple of 2017, 2019, he had a little injury history there. 2019, I think he injured his shoulder, but nothing like a torn ACL or anything like that, you know. So, but he has, you know, one of the problems that is that he doesn't like shy away from contact. You know, sometimes, you know, so in the pros, he might want to know, you know, when to slide down, when to get out of bounds. Apparently, he doesn't seem to like to do that, which kind of leads to some injuries. You know, so see, he might need to change his attitude a little bit now that he's in the NFL. They said, get the yards you can and get down or get out of bounds. Don't take unnecessary hits if you don't have to. Try to save your body. He was suspended for one game in 2018. Nothing major, but it was just, he did get suspended for one game. So, but in the first 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, you know, so he's played 4 years, but 17, 18, 19, he kind of did a little bit of everything, but he wasn't like a major weapon that they used in their offense. It wasn't until 2020 that he became, you know, a major weapon. And him and Pitts, having these two guys on the same offenses, wow, pretty special. Nick Saban actually said that now there's pretty much just two guys that I got to worry about covering. One is Kyle Pitts, and the other one is Kadarius Toney. So even Nick Saban mentioned about Kadarius Toney being a special weapon. In 2020, he played in 11 games. He had 70 catches. He had just under 1,000 yards receiving. He averaged 14.1 yards per reception, and he had 10 touchdowns. So out of 70 catches, he had 10 touchdowns. So one out of every 7 times he caught the ball, he took it to the house. He also ran the ball. He had 19 attempts for 161 yards. He had 8.5 yards a run, and he also scored a touchdown as well. So, it's not like they're lining him up in the backfield and they're I mean, it's like running out of the Wildcat. But just it goes to show you, if need be, I'm not saying the Giants are going to be running a Wildcat, but, if you had him in the backfield, he could run the ball. So you could put him pretty much anywhere. And if they need help returning kickoffs or help returning punts, he's the man for the job. As I said, he's about 6 foot, about 200 pounds. So he's got some nice size to him. So he's pretty special. And I said, I wouldn't have guessed that the Giants would have, with just Dave Gettleman's track record, ever guessed that they would have pulled off this trade with the Bears. But that was one of the ones that I heard, or possibly maybe the Patriots, a couple of the teams in the teens, but one of them was the Bears. But one thing that I once seen with the Bears, if they projected them to trade back with the Bears, that they were only going to get the Bears' 20th pick and maybe a 3rd round or something like that. And I thought that was a pretty weak. I thought that they were going to need to get at least another 1st rounder from the Bears, and they did. They got a 1st, and they got a 4th, and they got a 5th. So I tell you what, if the Bears, regardless, they got an extra 1st rounder next year. So the Giants next year got 2 first-round picks. Fantastic. The only thing is that the Giants stink this year, and Dave Gettleman's might go bye-bye. Dave Gettleman's not going to get to see, what happens next year in the 1st round when they get that extra 1st-round pick. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, will Dave Gettleman trade back once again tonight? Who knows? He did it last night. Why not tonight? But so they got 2 picks tonight. Let's hope one of them is a defensive edge rusher. That would be huge. And we got to get somebody no later than the 3rd round for that offensive line. So look for those 2 guys tonight. 7 o'clock start. College Draft. ESPN. 7 o'clock for rounds 2 and 3 tonight. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!